Hey there and welcome to my channel. I have a treat for you. Today I want to introduce you to my most favorite grown from seed flower of all time. And I'm waiting for something to top it and nothing has. Let me introduce you to my most favorite, the Mexican sunflower. This, my friends, is the most surprising, the most amazing, the most knock your socks off for all of you pollinator lovers, which you all should be, for all of you bird lovers that love to watch the birds eat the seeds, for all of you gardeners or all of you that are maybe nervous to start a seed, this plant right here, the Mexican sunflower or Tithonia, is for you. And here is why. So last year, I started seeds for the very first time for flowers. I've grown some sunflowers from seed, but never what I would call flowers, like you would cut a bouquet. Last year, I learned about the winter sowing method, and I went and grabbed a bunch of seed packs that were very inexpensive at the Dollar Tree. The Tithonia or Mexican sunflower had a pretty picture on the front. It was 20 cents. How could you go wrong, right? So I picked it up, brought it home, planted it, had no clue what I was doing with the winter sowing method, and so I had germination. I didn't go back and read the seed pack, and I thought it was a dwarf flower. Dwarf. I was so wrong. I planted it at the front of my garden, and it kept growing and growing and growing and getting more and more and more beautiful. The color is striking. It's different than any other flower in the garden because it is orange and red and yellow and bright and showy. And who doesn't love a showy flower? I know I love showy flowers. So I knew that I had to figure out what this plant was. And so I went back and read the seed pack, and I realized not only was it not dwarf, it was going to be one of the giants of the landscape or of the garden in my case. And so I fell in love after I watched this thing grow into its own. And so of course this year I knew I wanted more than what I planted last year because I wanted it to make a statement. So this is the Mexican sunflower. As you can see behind me, there are so many pollinators and birds and bees and butterflies at any given time on this beauty. So it stands about 10 to 15 feet tall, and it blooms from the time it's planted. I would say I planted it in April, and by, the end of the month, it was already blooming, and it hasn't stopped, and it won't stop until about October-ish. If it gets super cold, it will stop. It is magnificent. So I am going to spend this video trying to convince you, my friends, why you too need the Mexican sunflower or the Tithonia, same name, same plant, in your landscape or your garden. So let me turn the camera around. I want to show you all that is the magnificence of this plant. So I just want to show you, and I'm not that tall, so obviously not 15 feet tall, but I want to show you. So we have butterflies, and they really, really love it. So butterflies all over the top. And then as you come down, we have bees. So we have bumblebees and honeybees and your carpenter bees or wood bees. I mean, literally all types of bees. Then when I'm not standing here, so here's a different type of a bee. Then when I'm not here, there are hummingbirds and a lot of goldfinch. They love it. They hang upside down. I'll show you some video. All the stages are wonderful for the different animals or the insects. And so what I wanted to show you is, the color variation and then how they progress through their growing stage. Okay, so this is 3 different plants here. So I have one plant, and this is just one right here. Then I have another one right here. And you can see I've got a tomato cage around them because they do get a little big and bulky, and I just wanted to make sure that they were stable and sturdy. And then here is another one. And they start off with a sort of orangey red, like almost a red, solid red flower. So this one is a newer one. And then they transition into more of an orangey flower. But on the bottom is this gorgeous yellow, and then the center is a beautiful yellow. And so as you can see, the seed heads get super big. And when the petals fall off, so the stage that it's at right now is perfect for the pollinators. So the birds, the bees, the butterflies, they're really enjoying this part of it. Then when the petals fall off, it starts to dry out, but that's where the birds go in. They hang on this and they nibble on the seeds, and that supplies them. And so when we get to about this stage here, that's when I can collect seeds for next year's garden. However, I choose to not do that because I really enjoy feeding the birds. But as you can see, there are the seeds. They're dried out, super nice, and it's easy as that. You can collect seeds for next year. Like I said, they were 20 cents, so I really am not super freaked out about saving all the seeds. I really enjoy watching the birds, and I like knowing that something that I have grown is able to feed the birds. So this is a very large plant, and it does need room to grow. So if you plant this in your garden, you want to make sure that you give it room to spread out and do what it's supposed to. I started this using the winter sowing method. It is a tropical plant. However, the way a winter sowing method works, it lies dormant in the soil until the soil temperature warms to the temperature that it needs to germinate. That's how it works in nature. That's how it works with the winter sowing method. That's another video which I will go into great detail on, but I do want to say that this is a gorgeous way to start your garden. You can grow this in your garden even in the coldest of cold because it will germinate. It is a great plant. It's so adaptable. I'm in zone 7B and it does great here. So it's going to bloom and bloom and bloom. So let me show you over here. I'll give you a little bit closer view that's not in the shade. So I've got one over here with my grapes. And as you can see, the bees love it. The way that the petals kind of flop open and you've got your center for your bees, it almost looks red. So it changes color and it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. I literally do nothing. I fertilize them once a week. That's it. I don't deadhead them. I don't do anything because I want the bees to be able to have their part, and the birds and the butterflies and the hummingbirds. And I just don't want to do anything to take any food supply away. So are you convinced it is the easiest flower? The one thing I do want to say to you, they are not the best to cut and put in a bouquet because they don't smell so great. I do cut them from time to time just because they're so pretty, but they are not the kind that you want to bring in and smell and say, oh, it smells so great, because they don't smell great. They just kind of have a pungent smell. But anyway, this is the greatest, the easiest I have ever started from seed, and is a repeat. And as I said at the beginning of this video, nothing has topped it. Nothing. I am waiting. This one and this one, so the Mission Marigold and then the Forget-Me-Nots, they gave it a run for its money, but it has not touched it. I just cannot get over. It's just so multifaceted, y'all. And to see it in person, I bet the camera doesn't do it justice, but I want you to expand and try it. And I promise, it's not invasive. It doesn't spread. You don't even have to fertilize it, and it will do just fine. It's easy to water. doesn't struggle, doesn't show signs of stress in the heat, seems to thrive in the heat. So I can't find anything that I don't like about it other than the smell of it if you cut it. But even that, I could get past. For that, shoot. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for watching. I do want to ask you to give me your comments. Give me your feedback. What do you think? Will you grow this in your garden for me? Will you try it? Because I really feel like, you know, I know we're doing something great with milkweed, but I can't help but think like all of these different types of animals, of nature, enjoying this one plant. We're doing something right in growing this. So I want to encourage you. I want to hear what you think. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Go out, get your hands dirty, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.